When I started many years ago as a first line manager, I thought that one of the important parts of my job was to convince others. I was going about making my proposals, passing on my ideas, decisions, solutions, trying to prove that I was right. Big mistake. As I learned, sometimes painfully, was that the more I was trying to pass along my logic, the more I was busy with myself, the less was I able to understand where the others were coming from. I learned eventually that integrating other people's perspectives and ways of thinking was what was really enriching whatever decisions we were starting from. My name is Laura Lozza. I eventually became a rather successful business executive, uh, a negotiator. I dealt with external alliances and internal politics, as sometimes we call it. And I learned how to ask the critical questions, invite people to an open dialogue, tame my own um, instinct to defend my point and to prove and to explain. I was able to hold my position and offer it as one of the possible positions, enriching then the discussion with the contribution of others. I learned with experience, I learned from mistakes, I learned from examples of other fantastic leaders around me, and from experiences of others who were like me, struggling to insist and convince ineffectively. I also took a lot of courses and training, and eventually I became a coach and a trainer myself. Now I have coached and trained hundreds of executives who, like me, sometimes get stuck into trying to convince and forgetting to be curious about others. They're learning together with me to become more influential in mobilizing other people in a different way. I sometimes use the example about subjective discussions in uh, regular life to bring things alive. I use the example of a group of friends who are going out for a weekend tour, and they want to go to the top of the hill. And they meet and they gather in the morning at the bottom, at the foot of the hill, and then suddenly they find that they have a disagreement. One group wants to take the steep road and get up there fast, just 3 hours, and we get to the top. And then others are actually saying, no, there is a much better, simpler, easy road that allows us to look at the landscape. And then suddenly, what often happens is that what each one feels seems like the right way, and then we start to prove it is better to go the steep road. We can pump the muscles and stretch, and the others are saying it is better to get relaxed and to take the long road. There is no better or worse. There is no right answer when it comes to a subjective decision to be made. What we fail sometimes to do is to ask, what are the criteria and what are your values? What are you thinking of? What is your perspective? Where are you coming from? And we might learn that some people might say, I am running after deadlines on a daily basis. I'm tired of having the target of doing it faster and faster. I don't want to have for my weekend the target of getting there as fast as possible. I want to allow myself time to enjoy it. And the other group might say, well, we're always sitting in an office, just not having the opportunity uh, to get physical, and we want to stretch, we want to enjoy having some demanding physical tasks. There it is. We come from the same desire to do something different in our spare time, and so suddenly there is no question about what is the best road, because we have different opinions, but we might understand each other and identify a third position, not this road or that road, maybe a combination or maybe an alternation. We can create together with an understanding of the needs of everyone, and we can probably reach a much better decision that gets everybody motivated and happy and committed and excited about it. Very similarly, when we have subjective discussions in business, if it were an objective issue where we can put an algorithm into a machine, we have plenty of technology today that can give us the one answer. Normally, when we disagree, when we have difficult conversations, it's because we have different perspectives. We are using different types of glasses with different types of filters. We look at things from different sides, and as long as we don't understand where the others are coming from, we can spend a lot of time just building proof and counter proof of our being right, and it never goes anywhere. Sometimes I have people that come to me and during coaching they say, I was so frustrated because of this discussion. I couldn't understand why I made such an interesting proposal and people didn't react. And then I ask, what was the issue that the others had? They say, I don't know. Okay, so what are you going to do? What is your next step? Oh, I'm going to be better prepared next time, which means I'm going to build more and more proof next time. Doing the same that has not made you successful the first time, surprise, surprise, will not help. So there's a different way, and the different way, unfortunately, might be simple to grasp, but it's not easy to put in practice. When we are confronted with disagreements, there is something in us that makes us defensive, provoked, and we want to feel heard, and we wonder whether we are right. There's so much going on in our thoughts and in our emotions. And unless we understand that, and we tackle that, and we learn the techniques to be inclusive, to ask active questions, critical questions, to check our understandings, to manage the anxiety of not yet having the final solutions, but being in the building, in the co-creation. Unless we manage those skills and we keep the confidence in ourselves, it is very difficult to truly mobilize and influence others. So influence is an acquired skill. It's actually a set of skills. And I have distilled from my experience, from experience of other successful leaders, from studies and experiences of the people that I coach and train. I have distilled the key essential elements that allow us to learn how to be confident and successful in handling differences of opinion so that we can create mutual alignment, mutual engagement, and accountability so that we move ahead, investing more time at the beginning, but getting there together in a smoother and more effective way. I have distilled that into 5 simple steps in a training program that is called Clear Mindset. Conveniently, Clear also spells out CLEAR. The 5 steps of clearing your head with presence of mind, of leading with the heart, managing your emotions, of engaging by listening, of ambiguity management and resourceful innovation. All of those steps that require practice and different types of skills than the ones that we maybe usually employ in our everyday life. This program is offered both online and in various courses and retreats. So the next retreat is going to be at our center in the countryside in the Netherlands on the 25th, 26th and 27th of October. And I hope that I can see some of you join and experience in an interactive way in the middle of the nature, in a nice environment, what it is to be able to influence and mobilize, not trying to convince, but to really making an impact. You want to know more? Drop me a mail at laura@grooa.com, and I hope to see you soon. Lead with a smile.